Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Roos. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there, and so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony. Thanks for coming and chatting to us
Of course.
all the way here in Australia because you're about to come here in July.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Can't
And
wait.
when was the last time you were out here?
Oh my goodness. A generation ago. It's like 2003. We did 3 weeks in 2003, and that's the last time we were there.
Wow, that has changed dramatically since then.
Yeah.
Um, the music scene obviously keeps growing, but the country itself is growing as well. But you're coming out with Spill Canvas, aren't you? So that's a good double header.
Yeah, can't wait. Like we love those guys. Like we toured with them in the States in 2019, so it's gonna be fun.
Wow. Gosh, all that time back ago. I suppose now you're because it's 25 years
Yeah.
anniversary for the album, the first album, which is crazy. Like, where did that time go, man?
I I agree. It makes no sense at all.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, your music now, even I mean, the album itself is even relevant now, 25 years later, to a lot of audiences. So it's a good testament to your skills as a musician and your
Thank you.
art. Mm.
Appreciate that. It's wild. Like we didn't Yeah, we never could have imagined that anybody would care 25 years later. It's wild to think about.
Look, I think it's always amazing when I talk to musicians that have been, in a band and recording for a couple of decades. You go, how do you keep yourself relevant? But you do because I think the art itself speaks for itself, doesn't it? Like what you did before and what you're doing now. Um, there's a difference, but it's all equally as relevant, I
I
think.
feel like, you if you look at it like diary entries and you think about it in those terms, or everything you do is just sort of capturing a moment in time, then I think you know, it makes sense, I guess.
Well, yeah, 2003. I mean, I was sadly in my 30s then, but 2003 um, was an interesting time because the world was changing, uh, not for the better, unfortunately, and music scene was changing dramatically. The way you record, the way that you sell your music to your audience, the way you
Yep.
tour, and I think that is a snapshot in that album. I think, it's definitely a snapshot of that period. And you were young then. You would have been younger then.
Yeah, we were I was at I was like I think I was 3 then.
Yeah, I'd love to be. That's great. Yeah, yeah. I was in utero. That's what I was. Oh, brilliant. And the band is looking forward to playing that because you're going to be playing the whole album, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna play the record start to finish. It's something we never did back like when it came out, and it's certainly something we never did in Australia. When we toured Australia, we were on the record after Emotion is Dead, Love, and so we played mostly stuff from that record. But yeah, I think playing a full record from start to finish is it's fun because it's a more of kind of an experience, A. And B, it's nice because you don't have to think about as much of what the set list is going to be. It's like, it's
I was
like,
going to
well,
say.
we know what we're playing tonight. Hey guys, what's the set list? Yeah, okay,
Okay,
great.
this album, yeah. I mean, and that's enough. I suppose that is one good thing. And also, you spend, if you think about how much effort you and as a band, not just you, but the band and yourselves and your producers and everyone getting those songs in a particular order for them to flow. And then of course, there are fans out there who know that album intimately. That every note that blends into another note, that song that blends into another song, they could probably sing it in their sleep. And if you muck around with that, they get really funny about it.
It's so true. It's very true. I think it's like it's one thing if you're not playing a record from start to finish where I feel like you can maybe take more liberties, but the way we kind of look at it is because it's such a nostalgic thing, it's so tied to exactly what you said, people having specific like sense memory
Mm.
associated with things. It just kind of makes sense to try to keep it, close to the original.
Yeah, and of course, live is always going to be slightly different because your music is complex. It's not three chord pop, right? So things will change, I'm
Yep.
sure. But that's the beauty of live music.
It
Chucking in a
is.
different speed here, a different solo
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's the live music. As long as 99% of it of DNA is the song,
Yeah,
who's going to
exactly.
notice? Who's going to notice when they're deep in the moment anyway, right? It's live, yeah. And I think that that will be special to see because it's quite an emotional album, so it might be quite draining for you.
It's just it's not really draining emotionally at this point. It's just sometimes you physically are tired from singing that much or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, I suppose you would be. Yes, I mean, again, they're not the easiest of tracks to sing, I can't imagine. So, you're going to have, and you've got some great venues, man. You've only three venues in Australia. It's quite a quick visit.
it is
Uh,
very quick, very
yeah.
quick. The last time we were in Australia, we played 14 shows. So
Whoa.
so I feel like this is a much pared down version, but it'll be yeah. I'm sure I'm going to feel like it's way too short, especially with how long the
Oh God,
flights
yes.
are. I'm going to be like, wait, why did we only do three shows? Like, no.
But you're taking it all around. You're taking it all around the world, though, aren't you? I mean, it's not like it's just. I mean, you're traveling a lot of travel for this anniversary tour. So, I mean, it's just nice that you managed to get here.
Yeah,
It's
we're
often overlooked down
like,
here. Mm.
very excited to come. Very excited to come back. We love Australia.
Yeah, and Australians love you. I mean, your scene down here was. I mean, you were huge. I remember when you first hit the airwaves here in Australia. I'd only been in Australia for about, I think that time, 6 years,
Oh wow.
and wow, I remember, because friends of mine are big fans of your kind of music. And so I'd sit around and listen to this stuff when you could listen to it on the radio, right?
Wow.
Yeah, when it was accessible, not via streaming, and being quite blown away by it. So I think that the audience here is going to be full of nostalgia, I think is the right word, but also just so excited to see you because you don't come that often at what.
Yeah,
So
can't wait. I cannot
mm,
wait.
yeah, yeah. And are you doing any other album? I mean, don't tell me, but are you doing tracks outside other side of
Yeah, we'll
the
play.
album?
We'll definitely play some other stuff as well, for
Mm,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, good. Because I mean, your catalog is fantastic. So it'd be good
Thank you.
to. Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, it is wonderful that you are celebrating the album. It's absolutely wonderful that you're celebrating the birth of a band in such ways. But also at the same time, it's nice to see and hear your other output because your other output is as relevant, if not more relevant, than that one. If you know what I mean.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, are you? Where are you going after Australia? Where's the next lip after here?
Well, that's what we're still figuring out. We're trying to. We're there's a bunch of things we haven't announced yet, but
Ah,
we're going to other we're definitely going to other territories. There's a
brilliant.
couple things that we're still in the works, and then but yeah, there's more things for sure this year in that world.
Where's your biggest market? Like, who is it? The US that's your biggest audience base?
I would assume most likely, yeah.
Mm.
I think it's probably the big cities in America. It's probably the LA, New York, kind of that typical stuff, if I had to guess.
Mm. Yeah, because I can imagine you being quite sorry, my mic's in the way. I can imagine you being quite a sort of urban sound, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know if that's the right word to say it, urban sound, but you know what I mean, like city sound, I should say probably.
It's
Um,
weird because we're all technically originally we're originally kind of from in the country completely. So
Oh, there
we're
you go.
from out in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania. But yeah, it's weird because America is so big and it's so culturally divided and diverse. I would say the difference between the cities on the coasts and the cities that aren't on the coast, and then those areas in between those are quite different. And like for instance, I mean, like I think like if the Strokes were gonna play in New York or LA, it would be massive. But if they were gonna play in Omaha, Nebraska, it might not be nearly as big. But then there would be like these bands that nobody in New York or LA has ever heard of that draw 10,000 people anywhere in the middle of the country. So it's like it's just a it's an interesting place.
Isn't that doesn't that make though the music that the country makes a delicious mix? Don't you think that if that you're very lucky in that respect in your country? Australia is very similar, where you've got such divide culturally and distance wise between everyone. The kind of art that you make is not homogenized.
Yeah, yeah,
It can be, of course, there will be out there, but most of the stuff that we are listening to and that you are listening to is so diverse because of that. You know, blues from Louisiana, and you know, it's wonderful that you can travel around your country and then get influences from all sorts of things.
very much. I agree with that
Mm,
100%.
yeah, and that's what comes across in your music. No, it really comes across that it's not because one track to another you can never quite tell what will come. And I think that
True.
yeah, yeah, and I think that makes it a fun listen to, particularly this first album is so exuberant and youthful. Um,
Appreciate that. Yeah, we always said, especially Emotion is Dead, that we were uh, musically schizophrenic. It felt like because it would be like, yeah, what does this have anything to do with that? But just trying to
oh,
make it work.
but I love that though, man. That's what we want. Like as listeners, as fans of your music and the fans of music like yours, we want that. We don't want same old. And don't get me wrong, AC/DC over and over and over and over and over again, right?
Yeah,
It's great for doing stuff mindlessly too. You know, if you're digging a hole in the garden, great, go and stick on whatever. But if you're actually trying to, I don't want to intellectualize music too much, but if you're trying to get something out of it emotionally and stimulate your mind, a mixture of these things is what you need.
yeah, agreed,
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah. And I use music as a stimulant.
Yeah, me too.
And so if I'm not, if why would you drink a weak coffee or a decaf coffee or whatever if you can't? It's not giving you any stimulant, is it? Right?
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. What's the point? What is
What's
the
the point?
point?
What is the point, right?
Yeah,
Like caffeine-free Diet Coke. I might as well just have some brown water in a tin. That you know, that's why you're bothering. Oh,
agreed.
I had to drink that as a child. Oh, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. Um, but yeah, so I'm glad that you're coming over with again with the Spill Canvas, which is I've never seen.
They're great. They put on a really good show. They sound perfect live.
Brilliant, because that will be fun to see. Because I'm keen to see you guys. But again, Spill Canvas is one of those ones where you've only ever heard. You know, you can't imagine you would see them live. Same as much like yourselves. But I know more about you than I do about them. So it'll
Well,
be,
you'll like it. It'll be
yeah,
fun. You will
yeah,
appreciate them.
yeah. And if I mean, if they're from the same, I mean, what 5 years before you, they sort of their first album, so they're sort of in that same kind of family timeline, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're probably five. They're 5 years after us, but yeah, we're
After you,
the we're,
sorry.
we're the old men. They're
That's
the
it.
they're the kids.
Yeah, that's it. I wrote these numbers down. I'm looking at them. I've got them the wrong way around. Oh, that's my dyslexia for you. Yeah, yeah. You're the elder statesman of the tour.
Yes, 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 definitely,
You tell
definitely.
them to go to bed. No, make sure
Yes,
hydrate.
very important. Very important.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, as a singer, I mean, traveling that distance on in air, and then having to get off a plane and sing. I don't envy you.
It's not ideal.
No.
It's not the best part of the job, but
Not when it's 17-hour flight, no, or 20, whatever hour flight it is, you got to
don't
get off.
don't remind me. Don't remind me.
I go back to the UK quite regularly, and it's like, oh, I keep forgetting it's 27 hours. You're like, oh my God.
Crazy. Yeah, it's just nuts.
It's nuts, man. But even with you, though, going from one part of the country to the next takes ages.
It
Traveling up
does.
and down your country.
It does. It's a big space.
It's a big space, yeah, yeah. Like Canada, going into Canada from there, it feels like a different world.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Mm.
It really, well, America feels like 8 different countries probably when you really think about it.
Yeah, yeah, and even more so these days. We won't go into that aspect of it, but I don't want to alienate people. But yeah, you can feel the I mean, do you think that there is this tension that is happening? I want to ask you this as being a US citizen. I don't, or genuinely, do you think this tension is happening will create great art? Do you think like the tension that happened in the 70s with punk and wonderful movements came from it? Do you think this will happen with this tension that's happening now?
I assume, I believe that all, I believe that most good art comes from some sort of alchemy. You know, you're
Mm,
alchemizing negativity, pain, trauma, hurt, conflict, and you're mining that for the creative gold that lives within it. That's something that can transcend. And so I feel like anytime there are people that feel marginalized, or anytime there's people that are struggling, one of the best things that you can do is to try to create something out of that.
yes.
So I imagine that there will be lots of great art that will be coming in the next little bit, I assume.
I hope so because I really do. I feel for you guys, whichever side of the fence you sit on, because America's such a diverse and wonderful country full of wonderful people,
It's
and it just from the outside, it's hurting a lot of us. And I'm really happy that we can get bands like you here to celebrate your art and your music and your lives, even for a brief moment, even for just a snapshot of 3 days, it will be a fantastic um, uh, lift for you and for all of us. So, thanks again for
Thank you.
coming. Thanks
Can't
for
wait.
coming out. Yeah, man, it's going to be brilliant. Good luck with the flight. Good
Thank you
luck
so
with.
much.
Good luck.
Appreciate
I
it.
hope you've got lots of leg room.
I hope so. Trust me, I need it.
I can't. It's been. I do it so often now that don't even care anymore. I just like get me there. Just get me there. Oh dear. Well, thanks for coming. I hope you have a decent rest of your day.
Thank you.
And if I don't see you in Sydney, I hope the tour goes well and that the rest of your other tours to be announced will go well as well.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, my
Appreciate it.
friend. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, mate. It really has.
Take care.
Take
See you
care.
later.
See you, man.